Hello, this is Christian. Welcome to Angular. In this video, I'm going to talk about routing and navigation in Angular. Now, I'm using Angular 9, so if you're using an older version or a newer version of Angular 9, as far as I know, the routing system is not breaking. If you're using the older version, I think the only difference in Angular routing system is if you are eagerly loading all your modules, then you don't need to worry about it. If you are lazy loading a module, then you want to use a dynamic import function. That's the only difference in routing system in Angular 9. So otherwise you should be good. Okay, so here is an example of three pages: the home page, about page, and a product page that has a product ID. Okay, these are some very common or typical URL links, or we call these URL patterns, and we also call these routes, right? Now I put the slash in here really bold just to show you that from this point after the slash is where Angular detects the path or the routes. So when you put it in your route in the syntax here, as you can see, I do not put the slash in front of the about or the product or the home link here. Okay. Some applications frameworks might be different, but Angular does not use the forward slash in the beginning of your route because that's included already. And so these are the particular patterns. I have three patterns here. When any of those patterns match, then it will load the component you specify here in the component property. Now this path here has actually more properties in here, but I'm just showing you the two most important or two required properties you need to put in here in each pattern property object here. So the path, which is the route, contains the route, and the component, which contains the component to load. Okay, so here's an example of the flow of your route. For example, if you navigate in URL to the about page, you type the slash about, or if you link to the about page, then that will match a pattern in the code, and the about is matched in the path. Therefore, it's going to load this about component over here, and then this about component will be rendered to an outlet we call the router outlet in a shell component like the app component page. Okay, so it'll work just like that. Now another scenario, what if you have a link that is not a part of the path at all? Then there's a special route called the double stars or two stars that will catch any route that is not matched in the pattern at all. So this is a catch-all or a wildcard. You always want to put this in the very last of the route, because if you put this above it, it will always be true and will catch anything. Okay, so if none of the matchings is found, it will load this. A component you will also create, hopefully, called something like not found component, and then you would give some really nice messages to the user saying, sorry, this page is not found, make some recommendations and so on, and then again it will load to the same outlet. Okay, so let's go and see how this works in Angular. Alright, so this is the app that we're working on. As we can see, we have some routes up here already. These are not functional. If you can look very carefully on the URL here, but when I click on about, it shows the slash about, contact, and so on. So those are actually routes, but they're not being captured or they're not being processed in Angular. So let's go and do that. One thing though is that this page is actually, we coded this into the app root component already. So I'm going to move this to another component called the home component, right? We use this as the shell, which is the root component, to store all these different components. When you go to a navigation route, it will load this as the home page. Okay, so let's go to the code. Now make sure your app is running, and I went ahead already and I created all these components already. I have the about component here in the HTML, or just basically copy what I have in the other area, like the cards, and I just put some content there so we can see what they are when we load. Okay, so I have the about, I have the contact, look kind of similar. I have the home page already prepped here. We're going to move those data to this page here, and so on. So I'll leave this open. I'll leave the home component HTML open. As you can see, I moved the data here also from the root component, because these are now part of this home component, and I'll show you where these come from. But let's go to the app component HTML. This is the root or the shell, and then the app component TS is where we had earlier this data. So basically we move all these data here. These are coming from the child A and child B components. Okay, so I remove this and I copy those into the home.component HTML. I mean TS. So now this home component is now the parent component for the child A and B now. Okay. And so what we need to do is copy the app HTML page for everything from, I would just say, the title all the way down to line 21. We'll just leave the route here, the route outlet. And let's save that and move that to the home component HTML. Replace everything with that here. And the title, I should actually move that too. Let's go back and remove this as well. So this one has nothing here now, just a shell, right? We'll move that to the home component and we add that up here as well. Okay. All right, so now our app should be empty now because there's nothing there. As you can see, we moved everything now. So when I click on the home page, it should load the home component and so forth. Okay, so let's go and create a route. I do want to mention that routings, you need to create those routes in a module only. You cannot create inside a component. It doesn't work that way. So you must put into a route a module. And it's very typical to put all your routes into one place. So this is the app module. This is the root module, by the way. And when you create this app on the get-go, you'll see that if there's an option that asks you to whether you want to create routes or not. If you did choose that option, then it would have created this app routing module for you automatically. If it doesn't have it, then you can create one manually yourself. Okay, and what this one has is already set up for us. It has the routes, which we need that to contain the actual routes or paths, and we have the router module to run and interpret the module, the routing patterns, and navigates where the user should go. So these two are required. And then right in here we have the imports part. We need to import the router module, a function called for root. There's another one called for child. Now, most of the time, if you're running your app, usually if you're not doing any lazy loading modules or things like that, probably more than likely you will be using the for root here. What this means is that you're going to let the root component or the root module maintain or manage all the routes. All right, so it'll be available throughout your entire application. It doesn't matter where they are. Now, if you're doing for child, then now usually that is used when you do a lazy loading. So when you load a module at a much later time in the program, then you would do a for child so that when that lazy loading module is rendered, then those routes would be active. But more than likely, again, you're probably using the for root here. So we're going to pass the routes we create here to the for root, and we export the module here out to the app component, app module, and then here the app module, it uses that in the imports. Okay, so I'm going to show you two methods. You can put here in one place, or sometimes if you want to, and sometimes you have to, I guess, you can put it inside a particular module, a local module. Now, as you can see, we haven't done the module here yet, so all these components don't have any modules. Okay, so I'm going to create one module for the about page, and we're going to add a route in there, show you two different ways how to do this. So let's go to a terminal first, and let's create another module for that one. I'm going to do a shortcut here. So the ng generate m for module, and the module is going to be called the same as about. So in the components directory about, and if you just hit enter right now, it will create a module for you, but it will not add itself, right? Import that to this app module, the root module. A quick way to do that is you can put here a flag called m for module. We can do dash modules either way, and usually -m is a shortcut, and you set it equal to the module that you want to import this into. So in this case, it's the app module, because I call the app module here, right? And if I do that, hit enter, hopefully there are no errors, then it's going to create a module for us, and it will, as you can see, this app module has now added the about module for us. Okay, so what that means is that, okay, if that's the case, then I don't need the about component. All right, so I'm going to remove that because I don't want to do it twice. I only load one or the other place. So remove that because now it's managed by the module. Save that. Okay, so let's go into the About module and create our um, route here. So I'm going to create a variable or object, constant routes. This is a variable to store all the routes. The type would be of routes, capital R, and we need to import this in. So click that, and it should be imported from the Angular router module. And this can be assigned to an array of routes. Of course, you can have more than one routes in here as well. You're not limited to just one. So the path will be just about, and then the component we want to load is, of course, about component. Okay, as you can see, it's imported in here. So if you look at this pattern, it's very similar to the add module pattern here. Same thing. Okay, a few things are missing here. Of course, we don't, load the app component. We don't do the browser module, and we don't do the bootstrap because this is one. There's only one root module, and this is the one already. So we don't want to put it here. Okay, so now we got that in here. Right away, just before we forget, notice we took out the add module, add component, about component already. So we need to include that in the module to be exported out. So that means inside declarations here, I have to add the about component here, and also I need to export it to make it available to the public, right? So again, about component needs to be exported as well within the module here. Okay, so now we got that done. The next thing is we need to send this route to the root. So in the import here, just like we did here, exactly the same way, the add routes module routing here, exactly same. We need to do this, and then we'll also export that out too. Okay, so in the import here, I'll say the router module, again, import that already for, as you can see, for root of for child. We use again for root. I'm going to pass in the routes that I created here. Okay, so now all I have is just the single path here. And then I need to export that as well, the for router module. And now this is done. So it should be functional now. If I go to the site now and navigate to the About page, you see that it loads the About content here, right? This is what I have inside the About page. The others are not there yet. We haven't created those yet. Okay, so there we go. It's working very nicely. Notice also that we'll fix this a little later. When I navigate to another page, you see the page is refreshing, right? It's reloading everything again. If you go to the About page, you see the logo is spinning up here. Now, this is because it's not really managed by Angular yet. I mean, all the links there. So what you want to do is you want to make it so that your page loads very, very smoothly without reloading the page. And you want to maintain that feature because you want to, if you do a fresh reload like that, then all your data are gone, right? Because HTTP protocol is pretty much stateless. So, and also it's a single page application, and that means that your component should load very smoothly inside the area or the route outlet without reloading the page. So we're going to fix that in a little bit. Okay, so let's go back in here, and then now we need to go to the app routing module and add all these routes in there. So let's go and add them. The first one is going to be the home page, which is the empty route. Component would be the home component. And then we'll add another one. I just put shortcut here. I think only two, right? Yeah, about is really, we got it. This is be the contact, and this is the register. And we'll just update this. And then the register component. Oop. I can't type. Okay, let's remove this again. And this did not get loaded. Okay, so that's it for this one. We don't need to do any export because it does it already for us. So now it should be functional. Let's go back and try to test this out. As you can see, the route is already loaded in the root directory and loads the home component. Again, with that, we go to the about, the contact, and the register. Again, you see the page flashes. Okay, we don't want that, right? You want to be very smooth. Okay, so let's go fix that. Now, those are in the navigation So if you go to the nav component here, and then notice you have all these href tags, attributes, right? This is the DOM, right? So what you want to do is to prevent that from refreshing and loading, you want to use an attribute called router link. Okay, this one here will be banished by Angular, and that will prevent your page from refreshing. So you want to use that if possible. I highly recommend that. Now there's another one called router active. You saw that when I typed in here. This one here just basically means if you set that to say active, it just means like I think it will apply some CSS to this particular active link, and kind of like what we did here. We say if this is active link, then we add an active class and highlight that link. Kind of same thing here, okay? So it's kind of handy to come hand in hand together. And usually it's very common to put them together like this. But of course, this is not required. You don't have to use this. The only required is this router link to make the link not to refresh. So if I save that now and go back to my page, and you can see that now if I navigate to the About page, you can see that it's very smooth now, right? You don't see the logo being spinning everywhere. Everything is loading very smoothly like that, and that's what you want. But the URL, you see that it changes. Okay, it does it very subtly. Now, this is good. So what happens when, again, if I go to About, and if I type the word About Us, right? It doesn't know where to go, and then no matching data, so nothing's shown, and that is where we have a different pattern, a pattern that is not matched in one of our patterns. So that is where the wildcard comes in. So that means we need to go into the route and put it in here at the 2 stars. Okay, and we're going to call another component. We'll call it not found, which I don't have it yet. Let's go and create one really quick. So I'm going to go up arrow. Well, I don't have it, so I'm just going to say ng c for component, call it not found, and no style sheet, skip all the tests. Okay, so that should create a component for us, and then in here we're just going to maybe copy one of these examples in the home component, and just gonna copy this, put inside the not found component, and then here we just say not found, and we could put a link in here just to go back to home, right? Do something like a, and then type would be button, and class would be btn. Maybe we'll make it kind of large, and then we have a primary color, and then here put here back to home. And so the link will be equals /home. Okay, so here we go. I have a /home here, right? Versus something blank. Okay, this is something that doesn't exist, and you can do that too, right? You can put any link you want. Let's say the /home also takes to the home page. So that means in the route, I can add another route here to say this also goes to the home page like that, right? So both of these can go to the home page. And another way is you can do a redirect, but we'll do that in a separate video. Well, I can add it here. So if I do another one, just say if I put here, if I have another route, oops, that matches this pattern, maybe I call it index, I can say instead of component, I can do it this way too. I can say redirect to, and then you put here the /home. This is it's like the link. Remember, not the route, but the link with the slash. And then I want to say path. What do you call that one? Full path, I think. I forgot what that is. Let's see. Let me think. I can't remember. Something about path or something about match. Well, maybe match path. Oh, patch path match. I forgot, something like that. And then you can set it to maybe we'll see, full or something. I don't remember the exact syntax for that, but if you do that way, then it will actually redirect to another page. Maybe in a you have to figure that out. I don't remember the syntax. Okay, so now let's save this, and if you go back to the page, now if I navigate to about, if I go something like this, and then you see that it loads, well, it loads the registration page. Well, we don't want that. I think we forgot to change the path here. It should go to the not found component. Okay, not found component. So if I go here, so here's the not found component. If I navigate to index, takes that's here as well. And so if I go to contact, it loads contact, homepage, loads that, register. If I put registers, it goes to the not found. If I go home again, if I go about, and you see the about doesn't load about page. You may wonder why. Okay, so this is a very common thing you want to watch out for, because the about, it is there. It's just that why is it loading this page? Okay, and it has to do with the order of your module. So now this is in a module called app routing module. Okay, and the about is not here, but about it's inside its own module over here, right? Now when you load this in the root module, you notice that down here the imports, the about module loads last. So the catch-all is above it. So that means it would never load the about module. So when this happens, you want to make sure that this one is going to be the last one to load. Okay, so you move it down to the very bottom, and all the other modules are at the top. Okay, which is also why if it's not if you don't need to do it, then you put all your routes inside the same file here this way. It's just easier that way, and you don't run into the issue. So now it should work very nicely. Everything should work as usual. So I go here, here, here. If I type about us, and it navigates to the about not found page. Okay. So this is how routes and routing works in Angular. And again, just make sure you use the router link to load your link and without refreshing the page and so on. So hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.